Yeah,
What?
and that kind of reminds me of, we've had any number of companies that want to do a rewrite. They've kind of boxed themselves into a corner with their current implementation, and a rewrite is like no guarantee that it's going to be any better, especially if you're using the same people under the same constraints.
Yeah.
So how can we help them incrementally dig themselves out from under that, pile of debt?
There's one more piece. You mentioned that about no guarantee that's going to be any better, and in some instances, you could even say like, did we learn anything from those mistakes here in space? That came up recently from somebody I was listening to that I'd mentioned to you about whether it's AI or the XP practices, the software craftsmanship, whatever that is, the space to learn. And I know you know a few companies and the people at those companies who they have a good practice around learning. Could you speak to that? If I'm a manager, tell me why there's this importance about giving some slack to learn, whether that's refactoring, all these different things that you could name any, but maybe you could just kind of comment on this isn't a nice to have. Maybe right now with AI, it's a need to have.
Yeah, I think it ties into a little bit of that misperception that junior and senior is a linear path, that coming out of school, only A and B. And when you get through your career, C, D, and E. It doesn't go A, B, C, D. It kind of goes like, what is the problem I'm trying to solve? When did I first hear about it? And that's why I, as a senior engineer, I don't worry about pairing up with a junior. Somebody coming out of school has got a completely different viewpoint of the world than what I've got myself. So being able to learn from them is going to just benefit me, and being able to impart some of the things that I've seen is going to help them. And it goes back to that there's more than I can ever know. There's just more anything than I can ever know about a computer. I'm currently reading a book on, supporting and releasing to production. And it's just like it's getting down to the transport level of, how packets are arriving. And it's like, I kind of have heard of that, but I don't really appreciate how that works. And yet, we just saw a DNS outage with Amazon Web Services the other day. And it wasn't because, somebody wrote an if statement wrong. It was probably something down at the DNS level that blew up. So,
Wow.
yeah, we just have to be aware of what's out there. And when the time comes, it's not like I'm going to become, immersed in everything about that problem, but how do I get myself up to speed really quick?
Yeah,
And the best way that I've done it is pairing up with people, mobbing up with other teams.
I agree. On the job with someone local knowledge, tribal
Yeah.
knowledge. Yeah. Um,
Solving a problem that's in front of you that matters.